Russell, what's your gold medal topic for this week? What do you think is the biggest sports story of the entire week this week?
It might not be of the entire week right now, but I think as we start to move towards college basketball season, it may become one of the biggest stories of the year.
For sure.
And that's this whole FBI federal investigation and corruption of the NCAA, more specifically universities and shoe companies and their representatives. As we know, Louisville basically fired Rick Pitino after it came out that one of his, I don't even know what to call him. Basically, this guy was a glorified babysitter,
right?
Grad assistant at school, and one of the assistants, and basically got caught trying to. It's basically money laundering, but basically what it is in the landscape of college sports, you have money that comes in from a booster or a shoe company, right? And so then that money comes in. But you can't necessarily take that money from the booster or the shoe company and give it to whatever recruit that you want to give it to. It has to go around so that there's no money trail and it doesn't come back on the university, the coach, the booster, the shoe company, or the recruit, right? So you move it here and you do this and you move it there and you move it there and you move it there to kind of clean it off and before you give it to the recruit. And they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. One of the executives at Adidas, same deal. And the crazy part is the NCAA has been corrupt forever.
Since its beginning.
And it's one of those things that really, it's one of those my soapbox topics, you know.
Same.
The NCAA and how people always say, well, it's about the athletes getting an education, and I think they don't need to get paid, and they get paid in education when they get to go to a fine university for 4 years and graduate. No, that's bull. It's always been bull. It's always been about money.
Right.
Can we get the biggest recruits to come from the biggest universities?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And one of the things for me, every school does it.
Yes.
Every school does it.
Yep.
Every school has skeletons in the closet. I went to a small mid-major university like Oral Roberts University. I was the sports editor of the newspaper. People talk to me. You think they don't have skeletons in the closet at a place like Oral Roberts University, and you think Louisville does it?
Not the Christian school.
Come on. So it's really, I think the NCAA is very naive in thinking that people won't start to smell that bull a little bit, you know. And I think schools are very, they're treading lightly right now because the FBI, they're not going to do an investigation. They're not going to come after people like this if they don't already have a long, compilation of things on not just one university, but maybe a lot of different universities, a lot of different people in universities across the country.
Right.
In the report, Louisville was listed as University 6.
Wow.
Which means there are 5 other universities and maybe more beyond that being investigated here. And I know there are universities, if Louisville, one of the biggest powerhouse basketball schools in the country, maybe UNC, Duke, Arizona, there are a ton of schools that I know their coaches are giving them a little bit of talking to, like, hey, I know we all do this, but we need to start treading very carefully with who we deal with and how we do it. Because every school does it. Louisville just one, had the guy that got caught.
Hey, you know what shoe company hasn't been involved in this? The Triple B's, baby.
Big baller brand.
Big baller brand. We clean over here, baby. We clean. We not in that. Big baller brand. Triple B, baby. Yeah. Talk to me.
Yeah, congrats.
The crazy, and my last point, the crazy thing about it is 95% of the issues of, not only pay for play as far as shoe companies in schools or sending recruits to different schools because of the shoe companies or paying recruits to come to a school, all of this could be solved. Maybe 95% could be solved by paying student athletes.
Yep.
You don't have to hide things when you're paying the players.
Exactly.
You don't have to hide things. You don't have to launder money. That's a federal crime, laundering money.
Exactly.
And Niles, I know we've talked about it a lot with people we're not going to say their names, we're not going to put it on blast,
right.
But things like that have to do with garbage bags full of stuff and putting it in different places. football players, basketball players, and then the player who doesn't have a job, doesn't have a car, automatically, I can go out and I can put a down payment on a car, or I can do this, I might be able to do that. I have the money to put my baby mama here, and my parents can pay rent for the next year. Just little things like that we've known about for a while, and it's not just the big schools. Little schools
are doing
are trying. If there was a way for little schools to do it, they would do it too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then people always want to say, well, if you do that, the great recruits are always going to go to the big schools. What are they doing right now?
Right.
Yeah. You think Zion Williamson? You think Zion Williamson go to St. Mary's?
No.
There's no in Kentucky and all these different schools where, look, I'm going to get a full ride scholarship. I won't have to pay.
Right.
But I might get paid.
Yeah. It's true.
And I think, Russell, you make a good point. Just because your favorite college team wasn't on the list doesn't mean if they investigated them they wouldn't be on the list. And the only teams that are not going to be on the list are the teams that aren't trying to win.
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
To be fair.
And it's sad. Like, you have to do these things to keep up. I mean, Ole Miss, school in my home state, just got in trouble. Hugh Freeze got fired. Found out they were bringing escorts in and things like that. And I mean, it's just like these are things you have to do to keep a program afloat, because if you're not doing it, the guy across the highway is doing it, and he's gonna get the recruit that you want. And so I mean, it's just like, I remember Mississippi State got in trouble a couple years ago with the basketball team. I mean, guys, they said they had jobs at the car wash place. They were in the gym putting up shots, but they were on the clock at the dealership. And so it's just like little things like that. And they weren't even that good at basketball when that was going on. So think about what Duke was doing, and UNC, and like all these, Michigan State. Like, it's just like, if you really think some of these guys aren't going to these schools because of incentives, you don't want to know. It's just with just different things changing hands, and with it having gone on for so long, they've got it down to a science these days on how to do things and put stuff in your parents' name. And I've been on recruiting trips. I've seen stuff and I've heard stuff that I can't talk about. So it's just like it's just, that's the way it is. I wish it wasn't like that. I'm a huge advocate for college athletes being paid. I think the NCAA is quite the evil organization, to be honest. They tout around as like a non-profit, but they're profiting off of anything and everything. You can't make money off your own likeness, can't make money off yourself, can't promote yourself in any way. They literally own you as an entity, and you can't make money off of that. But they're making hundreds of $millions every year off athletes, and so that's why I feel like it's a little hypocritical to come down on these schools that are still trying to win, but they know they have to do these illegal things because of the rules that the NCAA set in place. And yeah, if you did pay the athletes, of course, there's going to be some dirty. Sports is a dirty business. It's just like politics. There's always going to be, but like Russ said, when you pay these athletes, I think those instances will cut down.
Yeah, if you just look at NCAA basketball, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry every single year.
Every year.
There is a theme song to the March Madness tournament, and that guy is getting paid, but the players aren't getting paid.
Right.
It's sponsored by Pepsi. The players can't afford a freaking Pepsi.
Exactly.
And like you said, if all this would change if they just paid the players, but because they're not, you have the Louisville athletic trainer using his wife as the escort that's being passed around between the players.
Crazy.
First of all, big ups to you. You're a big fan of Louisville at that time. You're a huge fan of Louisville. I am not that big of a fan of Utah to have my girl passed around all these players. I mean, go Cardinals. Wow.
Took one for the team.
Yeah, it took more than one for the team, apparently.
He was on some other stuff. We're not even gonna ask. You can catch the fade even ask.
Right. We could talk all day. The NCAA is just so it's always in the wrong. Just you can even look at with them being a nonprofit, they don't have to disclose how much their board of governors makes per year, and the president they don't have to disclose those numbers if they don't want to. They don't have to. They can get donations. They're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So you think there's not some things under the table going on where people are donating money to the NCAA and things like that for tax write-offs that they don't have to talk about? It's a very dirty business.
All right.
I think we're going to feel the ripple effects of this right up until and through the NCAA season. Because I think there's some big universities that, like I'm saying, telling you guys, are preparing for a very big type of investigation. Louisville's just the one that happens to always get caught in these things.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of universities are getting prepared for when everybody is on notice.
Yeah.
I think everybody's on notice now, but I think there's going to be a moment where everybody's going to have a little bit in the news about themselves.
And I think the players are about to have a little more leverage because honestly, it's like, what's stopping some of these guys from snitching? Like, these NCAA violations at the end of the day don't really affect them. Like, that affects the school. So it's like, coach treating me wrong or I'm not getting certain things. Like, what's stopping a guy from being like, hey, they're paying these people? So it's just like, well, it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, this upcoming NCAA basketball season. All these coaches make so much money off these shoe contracts. It's crazy. Players ain't getting nothing. So
Yeah, and we can hear us saying this, like, coaches are allowed to move without penalty. Players are not allowed to do anything without penalty, and it's a shame. And I do think you're right, Russell. Maybe that wasn't the biggest sports story of the week per se, but it might be the biggest developing story of the year. It might develop into something massive. So I agree, Russell. Great choice.
Plantation might get broken up.
Exactly.